Hi everyone, it's Victor speaking, and today I'm here with a video for you to see what the correlation between astrology and sports. I think more of us are very inclined to have a healthier lifestyle, and as we know, 20% of our diet includes sport, and 80% is all to do with your eating habits. Now, I wanted to make a video just to show you, for instance, if you have a look at your sixth house cusp or your rising sign, what type of sport it might indicate. So I'm going to go through the 12 signs. By the way, I'm doing a Horary class, 16 weeks, and you should become a Horary practitioner. If you are interested in it, then drop me an email or leave a comment below, and then we can discuss the details. Now, sport and Aries. So basically, you need to do any type of sport you can stand out with. Something which is where you can show what you can do, really. Aries is a competitive sign. Aries is not necessarily a team player. The most important thing for them is to be the best in the shortest possible time. And Aries can hardly accept defeat. In addition to draining their energy, sport is also important in the life of Aries native, so that he experiences defeat occasionally as needed and learns how to deal with it. Actually, Aries can be a good striker, a racing driver, a motorcycle racer, hurdle, sprinter, cyclists, but we can also find their representatives in the martial arts and boxing as well. So you need to do something which is going to be using your physical strength, basically. Then we've got Taurus. And Taurus is not exactly the most athletic type of star sign. They usually avoid grueling exercise, prefers comfort. So most probably one of the best ideas you as a Taurus can do is to take regular walks, and most probably in the proximity of nature. Taurus likes forests, lakes, and anything which nature has got to offer. You can actually choose sports that care for and shape the body. You may be attracted to different types of trends in bodybuilding or dance or yoga. This is a Venusian sign, so that's something to do with balance. But also, you might want to be using your physical strength in wrestling, lifting weights. Taurus has got this bulkier type of body type, so they like having those pumped up muscles and so on. So I would be choosing a sport if I had Taurus on the sixth house cusp or the rising sign, which you can take pleasure in. As I said, Taurus is a slower moving sign. They don't necessarily like running. So all those type of ideas you might give up on quite easily. Let's have a look at Gemini. So Gemini has got a constant need for movement. Gemini always wants to find a sport that can satisfy their physical need for movement and kind of turn off their brain as well. So you can play a variety of sports and leisure activities in parallel and switch between them, basically. They like to play outdoors, um, but they don't necessarily like so much of the idea of going to the gym, for instance. I think Gemini would enjoy team games the most. They've got quite good rhythm as well. They can have a good time in any of the ball sports, so volleyball, basketball, something which is promoting team building. Even sports like tennis, squash, ping pong, or badminton. can also be attractive to Gemini. Ideally, they are quite fond of running, cycling, or some athletic type of sport activities as well. Again, Gemini is one of the most curious signs, so they're not going to have issue with trying things out, but it needs to be somehow a team-spirited sport activity. Let's look at Cancer. So Cancer is not necessarily the typical representation of athletic type. They prefer to live comfortably. They like dreaming, fantasizing. Your current mood really can determine whether you play sports or actually you stay at home and do some cooking instead. Your mood can really change what type of sport you are into. They are mostly attracted to water sports. Swimming can relax them, for instance. And Cancer is not necessarily happy when there are plenty of people around them. They don't have a competitive spirit. They like comfortable, relaxed, um, something to do with calculated type of moves. I would say that such sports like sailing, which is connecting them to the nature, they could love that very much. Or it could be something to do with sharing tasks with others as well. Of course, this is a family oriented sign, so they could be going on a long family walks or something again which is very nature orientated. Maybe you can become an extremely good surfer. They like any forms of tours. They are attracted to by walking because they are not necessarily tied down by time or performance. They can do that at their own speed, and yeah, no one is going to be checking them how they are doing their exercise. Um, yeah, also um, because it's a meditative sign. So something to do with yoga and meditation also could be very, very good for them. Let's see Leo. So as much as Leo likes comfort, it is also important for them to kind of dazzle their surroundings with their extraordinary abilities. And because of this, Leo tends to be paying attention to their body. They're trying to look better than others. Of course, we're talking about the glitter, the glamour type of energy of Leo here. So that's why sport actually can become quite important in their life. Of course, we're talking about a sign which is acting like a king. So they definitely don't like defeat. And the more immature Leo can be, the harder it is to bear defeat for them. So that's also one of the reasons why I would say it's quite important for Leo to start playing sports at an early age so that they can learn about defeat. They can learn that they are not always going to be the best ones. They tend to be more attracted to individual sports where they can show off what they are capable of. Of course, we're talking about a sign which likes being on the stage. They are not necessarily a good team players. Um, they actually like controlling, so they are more like the referee type of sports energies. They might be actually a member of some type of elite sports club. So they might be playing some type of costly sports, such as tennis or racquetball, golf, sailing even. It's more about the fancy part of sport they would enjoy the most. They can actually excel at car or motor racing also. I think with Leo, one of the most important thing is to do a sport which they enjoy the most. If they are not enjoying what they are doing, they're gonna give up on it quite quickly. Remember, fire signs are all about ego. Um, for Leo, it is going to be a battle to do something which they hate. Okay, so the next one is going to be Virgo. So for Virgo, it is extremely important to maintain their health. And therefore, sport becomes also important for them. And they may be doing some type of sport activities on a regular basis, but not necessarily the over demanding sports. They enjoy doing activities in the open air. So anything to do with jogging, cycling, even walking could really satisfy this sign. They don't necessarily like competitive sports at all. They are more about aerobics, or they are more about precision. So they are trying to um, um, perfect their technique. Um, they also like using or choosing some type of spiritual sports, such as chess and crosswords, or something which is going to be training their mind. They might enjoy, sitting in front of the television and trying to answer the quizzes, um, because they tend to be overstretching their nervous system. Therefore, I would say yoga, meditation, relaxation are pretty much recommended for them, where they can switch off their brain a little bit and enjoy the joy of life. Remember, Virgo is extremely controlling, and therefore they want to be calculating every single move of theirs. And they are all about routine. So any type of sport which is about routine could be very good also. So such as spinning classes, for instance. It starts at 5 o'clock, it finishes at 6 o'clock. We start with warm up, and then after we're gonna be doing, whatever routine we do. So any sport related to routine can be beneficial for them. The next sign we're going to be jumping onto is going to be Libra. And I would say that Libra is going to be attracted to social and like event type of sports. Um, they like forms of movement that gives you the opportunity to showcase your beauty, something which looks harmonious, something which requires decorative attire. So they might be inclined to move to music, or even present their skills on stage as well. So like sports included here, such as gymnastics, something to do with your rhythmic sport, gymnastic, or dancing in any type of forms, really. Figure skating, acrobatic rock and roll, for instance, or something to do with the synchronized swimming or the tower jumping also could be very good for them. But even something to do with Tai Chi. So we know that Libra is one of the most vain sign, and I usually say quite funnily that Libra tends to go to the gym because the mirrors are a lot bigger there than at home, and they like flexing their muscles or looking at their shape. Obviously, because the lighting is probably better as well at the gym. So Libra like sports, but not the most active sign, I would say. Even though if it's a cardinal energy, they are more about having a harmonious body. So, for instance, for Libra, it might not be important to have those huge muscles, but to have a lean body. Of course, they want to look good. So let's move on to Scorpio. Scorpio has got quite loads of energy actually, so it is important for them to play sports most probably on a daily basis. I would say it doesn't really matter what kind of sport we describe or we would tell them to do. They're going to be doing something which is extremely passionate for them at the time. I would say that I would recommend maybe martial arts, where they can do some type of de-aggression. So we're talking about a water sign, probably one of the most, maybe not aggressive. I wouldn't necessarily call them as aggressive, but I would say that they tend to build up the aggression within themselves, just like, for instance, Cancer as well. So they need to do something which is going to get this anger out of them, of their system. I would also say that anything to do with survival sports, that could be extremely funny and good for them as well. So there are these celebrity, in the forest eating spiders and all those type of things. That's typically a Scorpio type of energy. Because it's a fixed energy and very much of a Marsian um, uh, combo here. So it's not just simply running, I would be recommending, probably running long distance, so something to do with marathons, or they can be attracted to triathlon or mountain climbing as well, to a certain extent, because they've got, for them, probably Scorpio is one of the most determined signs. If they start something, they want to finish that up and they want to get successful with it. I would also say that any type of crazy and extreme type of sports could be very good for them, because this is one of the most risk-taking sign as well. So jumping that tower, also something which they might be fascinated by. Of course, we're talking about the sign which represents life and death situations. Um, in addition to intensive training of their bodies, they also need to learn self-control. And most probably that's one of the reasons why martial arts also would be fit in the picture. Yes, let's see what Sagittarius is like. Now, Sagittarius, especially at the beginning of their life, due to their agility and good physical build-up, actually they can try any type of sport. Obviously, we're talking about an adventurous sign, so they want to try out everything sooner or later. And because, again, it's a fire sign, it's important for them to succeed and, in a way, to stand out as well. Fire signs tend to be competitive, but also Sagittarius is a little bit of a standout of the other two fire elements, because they actually like working together as well, in a team for a common goal. Um, I would say Sagittarius definitely needs a regular exercise routine to derive their energies. So something to do with team sports, or even a sport related travel. So typically I've seen Sagittarius house, six house plus, or Sagittarius rising sign to go skiing, for instance, with the friends. Um, there are quite loads of Sagittarius in ball sports. So something to do with football, basketball, handball, water polo. And I think one of the reasons is because this is the sign who needs to, calculate what the next step of the opponent is. And we're talking about Sagittarius, which is a very futuristic sign. Skiing, snowboarding, surfing. I think also, well, could be okay. Now, especially probably the skiing as a winter sport, maybe snowboard and surfing actually might be a turn off for them. They could also be attracted to elite and costly sports. And maybe Sagittarius wants to belong to a sport club no one really can get into. At the end of the day, we're talking about the sign of abundance. So sailing, golf clubs, also very Sagittarian as well. Now, of course, think about the symbol of Sagittarius, the arrow, right? The shooting. So actually, it could be something to do with archery, the clay pigeon thing, the clay pigeon shooting, very Sagittarian type of sports, or just something to do with the shooting itself. Um, yes. Oh, and one more thing. Of course, Sagittarius is rules horse ridings. So horse riding with archery, which is, by the way, a Hungarian tradition. And we are a Sagittarius country as well, so I find it quite funny. Yeah, so horse riding and archery, or some type of, again, fighting type of spirited um, sport activities from horses. You know, in the ancient times, they used to run the horse and then fight with it. That might be also a Sagittarian activity. Let's have a look at what happens to Capricorn. I would say for Capricorn, it is going to be important again to do some daily exercise, because Capricorn tends to forget about caring. So they forget to care about their own body, because Capricorn tends to be a workaholic. Now, we also mentioned this word workaholic with the Virgo as well. But even Virgo is going to, because it's all about the schedule, it's all about the routine, they're going to find time to go to the gym, even if it's an hour every single day. So with Capricorn, I would say they tend to like long, relaxing walks, something to do with stretching type of exercises. So maybe Pilates could be very good for them. Um, I think for Capricorn, it is extremely important to balance out their mind and spirit. So they usually do that with yoga. I would say that Capricorn, if they do some type of sport actively, then they might like any type of sport activities in the form of toughness or something to do with endurance. So again, maybe if they are running, then the long distance running, or the obstacle, the hurdle type of running is gonna be actually um, more like fond. I mean, they're gonna be more fond of those. Um, Another things I would mention that we tend to find Capricorn to do something to do with climbing. So of course, we're talking about the mountain goat, which is all about climbing that mountain, and then eventually I'm going to get to the top of it. So rock climbers, I think, or people who like doing cave tours, or something to do with, again, with some type of challenges around mountains. At the end of the day, Capricorn rules mountains, rules dark places such as caves. So all those type of sport activities could be good for them. Now, Capricorn also is a good strategist. So anything to do with chess or crossword puzzles are also something they can switch off their minds. Let's have a look at my sun sign, Aquarius. Again, we're talking about an air sign. So as we said, air signs tends to have got a strong need for movement. So again, they can try any type of sport. I would say they've got quite a good rhythm as well. So and they can do activities in groups. So group dancing, for instance, a great idea. I would say that usually they are attracted to any type of sport which requires speed and technical skills as well at the same time. So rafting, trampolines, skateboarding, roller skating, um, those bikes, which is doing that valley type of thing. I don't know how it's called, and then they spin in the air and so forth. That's very Aquarian also. But again, this is a Saturn rule sign as well, so something to do with climbing and then jumping off, for instance, the cliff or into water can be very Aquarian again. At the end of the day, they are the most extreme signs of our zodiacal circle. Now, any type of sport which gives them the sense of freedom. So maybe it's something to do with flying or hang gliding. That's also very Aquarian. But they are very happy to try a skydiving, for instance, or hot air balloon flying. I remember me being Aquarius, I bought a present to a friend of mine, and that was a hot balloon flying. Well, that was a very Taurian person. I should have thought about it because Taurus might not like, being in the air. Yes, so we might be finding Aquarius in type of some type of sport activities which need technical abilities. So again, maybe the motor racing could be also one sport I can mention. Winter sports definitely belongs to this category as well. So skiing, ice skating, snowboarding, also very, very good for them. Um, and some of these, some Aquarian, actually, as I said, they have got great technical skills. They are actually fond of making different type of models. So, like building a special car or a special boat, and then they like competing with those. Of course, Aquarius is one of the most team spirited energy, but in a way, they still like being a part of a team as well as leading the team. So it's like a captain of a football team, for instance. Surely that would satisfy them. And last but not least, let's have a look at Pisces, which is my rising sign. So this is typically for me as well. And I would say that typically Pisces is not an aesthetic sign. Actually, they like living comfortably. They like dreaming and fantasizing, just like we said with Cancer. They don't really have a competitive spirit. And even if they do some type of sport activities, they want to do that, for instance, while they listening to music. They actually like leisure walks, something to do with relaxing, touring. If they do sport, what I would recommend is it's something to do with water sports, swimming, and so on. Because actually swimming kind of relaxes them. Pisces has got this craving to be around water as much as possible, but they don't necessarily like noisy places or crowded places. They might like scuba diving because they kind of like, as I said, the water and something to do with the nature as well. So that could be also very good. Um, again, we're talking about one of the most spiritual signs here. So they need to be doing plenty of relaxation, meditation. For them, it's more about emptying that mind, the negative thoughts, and that's maybe one of the ways how they can lose weight as well. Now, Pisces is so much about dancing. So they've got artistic abilities. So actually, yeah, dancing is definitely one of the best sport we can mention for them. By the way, when I was 15, I was doing acrobatic rock and roll. Bearing in mind, I've got Mars and Venus in my first house as well. So Mars is all about something to do with the competitive spirit. So I went for competitions, and then actually I got some great. I got some great medals as well. And Venus, which is a very rhythmical, something to do with the showing of the beauty side of things. And of course, if you really think about acrobatic rock and roll, well, that's all of it. So, but I really love dancing. So contemporary dance as well. Uh, Typically, Pisces would like to do ballet, um, um, water ballet as well, something to do with synchronicity again, maybe in watery environment. Well, it was just a short video. I wanted to give you some ideas of maybe what type of exercises your rising sign or your sixth house cusp would love to do. And then maybe you want to be combining the two. I think we are in a world where it is getting more and more important um, for us to maintain our soul as well as our body, because I think a healthy person is all about a healthy mind and a healthy body at the same time. So it was a pleasure, and I'll be back shortly with a new video as well. Thank you very much. Enjoy your day. Bye bye.